Hi everybody, I'm Belinda Allen. I'm the Director of Enablement for iLink Digital. In this episode of Fabric Fibers, I'm going to show you a little bit about formatting with the use of DAX. In this report that you're seeing on the screen, I'm looking at a fun database that I found where someone actually takes individual packs of Sour Patch Kids, the candy I'm talking about, counts out the colors, and records in the database the colors. Let's take a look at the data set. So I'll come into data mode. I could see the Sour Patch Kids. This is actually the data set where they have the date. Now this is modeled. In their data set, they just had the date one time and they had a column for each color. But I've modeled it so that I could see for each date the color and the total count in that bag. I've also added a color table. For each of those colors, I have a custom hex table. So I could get a consistent look and feel on my colors that I'm using when I'm representing the actual candy itself. And then, of course, I have a calendar table that I've created with DAX. Let's go back to the report. If I want the report to talk to me, to basically tell me a story, then I'm going to want to make some changes to it. First of all, it's a little difficult for me to tell where one visual ends and begins because there's no background color. So that's something that's really important for me. And I do want to note that this video was made with the on object feature not turned on. So I actually have this visualization page. Now what I'm going to do is come in and put a background color. So with nothing selected on my visualization page, I could tell because when I have Build Visual selected, the Values field displays and it's empty. So what I'm going to do is come up to formatting this report page, and I'm going to format the canvas background. I just want to background the report. I've downloaded the image of the Sour Patch Kids, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now I don't see it because my transparency is set to 100%, so I'm going to take it down to 0, and now I can see the background of the Sour Patch Kids, and it makes the visuals easier for me to interpret. Now normally I also do not like a background that busy, but I think in this particular case it works. Now you'll notice that the tree map visual that I have has the count, like orange happens to be the color orange, and if I select it, then you could see it is working consistently. Blue also happens to be blue. I've altered red, so red would work, but I don't want to have to alter this each time. You notice that the yellow option is set to pink and the green is blue because that was the default color. Now I want to use my hex colors to control this. And so we'll start with the tree map visual. Now the tree map visual is not particularly my favorite visual, but I'm using it here because it does allow for some additional formatting, some additional DAX formatting, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's come into this count by colors, and in the formatting, I could come in. This is where I manually changed the panes right here. So you could see I have the ability to do some conditional formatting based on some data that I define. In the report mode, I'm going to choose the advanced controls, and I'll change the format style from rules to field value, and it should be based on, I'll go to colors. I can see that hidden hex color. I'll select it, and I'll click OK. And now the colors match up. Yellow's still a little bit tough to read because of the white background. So I'll come in and choose category labels. I can see the white here. I'll change it to black. I can see my colors much easier. And now I don't even have to read the label. I could just go straight to it and see it. To do this for the table, it's something very similar using that same kind of conditional field. So in the visualization pane, I'm going to go back to Build Visuals, and for the color, I'll click on the drop-down list and I'll choose Conditional Formatting, and I want to change the background color. Now I don't want to do this based on rules because what if they add, as I mentioned, a new color. I don't want to have to go in and change a lot of conditional formatting. So instead, I would just go into my color table and add the color and the hex color. So I'll go into field rule again, and I'll choose colors and the hex here. And now you can see the background colors are matching. And I'm going to do the same for the count. Go to conditional formatting, color background, change that to field value, go to colors and choose the hex. And I do want to point out that those kinds of conditional formatting are using that field value for a background color is not available for all visuals. It is something that I'm seeing Microsoft do more and more. So notice now if I select green, I only see green. If I select orange, I only see orange. Well, what about the card visual? How can I do something to represent the card visual? If I were to come in and change the background of the card visual, notice I have no option for conditional formatting. So I'm going to have to go into the formatting area, go to General, and open up Effects. And notice next to the background color, I do have the ability to do some kind of conditional formatting. And if I come in here and I were to choose field value and I chose the hex color again, what you're going to notice is when I'm looking at everything, it defaults to blue. And that's because blue is the first item in the list. Notice that I have an option here. If I change the summarization to last, now it's yellow because yellow is at the bottom of my list. Now, if I look at any one in particular, it will code correctly. But if I'm looking at everything, I don't want it to have the color of the last one or the first one. I may want to have the color to be white. And this is where I come in and add in a new DAX field. So I'm going to come to colors and I'm going to add in a new measure. And in this measure, let's make that a little bigger. I'm going to call this background. That'll be the name of my measure. And this measure will be based off of the selected value function, which is probably one of my favorite functions. I use it all the time. So I'm going to come in and say, get the selected hex color, get that hex number. And if nothing is selected, then what do I want to happen? I want it to be white. So I'm going to put the hex code for white. And because it's to have that pound key in front of it, it's actually going to be, and occasionally we'll have letters, it's going to be text. So I'll put in pound, FA, 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 and put that in double quotes to indicate that's text. And then I'll put it ending parentheses to complete the selected value function and commit that. Now that I've done that, I'm going to come back into this particular visual, the card visual, go to the FX color, and instead of using the last hex, I'm going to use the background function. I'll click on OK. Nothing selected, it's white. I select red, it becomes red. I select orange, it becomes orange. And now I have this nice color combination that if we happen to own a candy shop, and we sold Sour Patch Kids in single colors, it would kind of help us out. Not only that, it's a lot of fun. The last thing I'll do before I wrap this up is click on this drop-down list and choose to hide it from my data model because there's no need in anybody using it for anything other than formatting. And we already saw that hidden fields will appear in formatting. I'm going to go ahead and just click on Save. I hope you have a great day, and I hope this helps. If you like this video, click like and subscribe to our channel. Also, be sure to check out upcoming events at ilink-digital.com.